Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 5 big things that PUBG has changed that you may or may not have known about. This game has been out long enough now where it's gone through a lot of changes and some features have come and gone where we can sit back and look at it now and be like, hey, that was pretty cool that was in the game. It might exist in here in one form or another, but it's definitely been changed, it's been tweaked, and this game has honestly gone through a huge evolution. But today we're going to be looking at the 5 biggest things that have changed since the beginning of this game, and 5 things you might not have even known about. But as always, guys, before we get started, if you could do me a really big favor and leave a thumbs up, we're going to aim for 500 on this video. I worked pretty hard on this. I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure you are subscribing if you are brand new to the channel, as we are closing in closer to 100K every single day. So if you would like to help me out, then that's all I ask you to do. And definitely stick around to this channel for more Battlegrounds content. Just like this, I'll have plenty more videos coming out in the very soon future. So anyways, guys, let's go and get started on the 5 biggest changes that PUBG has made that you may or may not have known about. So coming in at the number 5 spot, these aren't in really any particular order. These are just 5 things that I found really fascinating that PUBG has gone through, right? So the first thing that I want to talk about is, if you guys have been playing this game for a few months now, you may remember that Erangel used to have both rain and fog games. So you could have a weather change in these. Now in regular Erangel, in the game that we have today, the actual time of day can change. It can be like an afternoon setting, it can be dusk, and some people have their preferences on that. But you actually used to have also a rain setting and a fog setting. Now I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of these two, and namely because the fog was just a little annoying, as I felt like it slowed down the pace of the game. It made everybody like much more quiet and you know, afraid to start firing their weapon, as it really exposes you instantly as to where you are. And then my problem with the rain is that it was very hard to hear footsteps, and then, you know, using sound as clues was not as effective in the rain because it was completely drowned out by that sound. So I don't know, I had a problem with the weather, but it could have been tweaked to be better. It was a very cool little feature that we had though, and it was awesome to see as an actual game mode. But unfortunately, if this was something that you were wanting to play and you just have PUBG right now, maybe you're new to the game, you're not able to play this game mode anymore. And I think that they made this specifically because they needed a little bit more variety in the game, as this was completely before the desert map, before even we got to try out the third map as well. So I believe they wanted to add some variety so it's not the same match every single time. But in my opinion, it didn't work out great, but some people actually really did like it, and that's perfectly fine. Just wasn't really my cup of tea, to be honest. But that is actually going to be our first really big change, was the weather that was able to be played in Erangel. And in my opinion, however, even though I didn't really like it, it's still so cool to go back and look that this used to be a feature in the game and we played like this for a while. So I don't know, I think that's really interesting. But that's going to be our number 5 spot. And now coming in at our number 4 spot, this one's really interesting because it just happened a couple days ago, and honestly you might not even notice it until just now, but this is what's going on. So coming in at our number 4 spot, PUBG has completely removed all clothing spawns in the game entirely. So whenever you load into a map, you're about to play some battle royale, whenever you come in, back in the day, up until about a week ago, you could jump in, land basically anywhere, and find a lot of loot such as weapons, you know, your ammunition, get set up, stuff like that, find some gear, and you would also find clothing items like coats, hats, and then gloves, just random stuff to dress your character up however you want to. And just a few days ago, they completely removed any clothing spawns from the game at all. So if you want to change the way your character looks, you're gonna have to do it from the menu, and this is actually a really good move in my opinion, and I'm glad this is done. But I didn't even know I wanted it until now, right? Because here's the thing, right? When you had so many clothes around all the rest of your loot and your weapons and things that you actually need, it provided so much clutter, and it was just annoying, honestly. So when you're looting up nowadays, there's not all this extra stuff that you might accidentally grab and is going to waste your time for getting the stuff that you actually need. And I think this is probably one of the most welcome changes that's ever happened in PUBG, and is overall amazing for the game in my opinion. But it's really interesting to look back at old gameplay and just see clothes everywhere on the ground, and you know, gameplay that's going to come out from this point on is going to have none of that, and it's a little weird. But anyways, that is another small change that PUBG made, but it's a very good and effective one. Now, coming in at the number 3 spot is going to be the energy drink aesthetic change. Now, I'm sure all of you guys noticed this. Like, if you've been playing PUBG since before, like, the pre-patch of this, then you instantly saw it. It wasn't something that was going to go under your radar, but you might not know why this happened. So before it was changed, this is what the energy drink used to look like. It's quite literally a Red Bull ripoff, but it says Hot Bull. It's pretty much the exact same aesthetic. The only difference is one word is changed, and then the like colors are inverted with the red and yellow. And other than that, it's literally the exact same thing as a Red Bull can. And this obviously gets into a little bit of copyright infringement territory. So to mitigate this problem, they ended up changing the look of the energy drinks to this now, and I don't know, what do you guys think about this? Do you prefer the old cans or do you like these new ones? It doesn't really bother me that much personally. I do prefer the old ones just because it's kind of, I don't know, it looks a little more unique, and I do just kind of like that style more. But there's actually a petition going on right now that you can sign up for. I don't know if it's still active, but somebody made a petition to bring back the old energy drink look. Like, some people are really passionate when it comes to this subject, and I don't know if I would go that far with it, but you know, it's something really interesting to see that used to be part of the game, and this has completely changed the look of it forever. As much as you might like the look of the old energy drink, I don't think it will ever be its former self again, and we're not going to see the old school kind of one that we used to have in the game. Unfortunately, that's how it is, but that's how things go these days. But anyways, that's going to be our number 3 spot. Now, coming in at the number 2 spot is one that only the OGest of OG players remember, because this was changed so early on, and not many people these days who are playing PUBG were actually in the game. But this was the massive change to the way the Tommy gun works. Now, if you guys play PUBG today and you use the Tommy gun, it's an okay gun. The SMG is alright, but it's not amazing, right? But what you may not have known is that way back up in the day, the Tommy gun used to be really good and actually pretty valuable as well. So if you're not aware, it was only available in airdrop crates for the longest time. Now we can find it anywhere amongst the most common loot, and it's really easy to find in most games, but it used to be in airdrop crates only, as it was extremely rare. And also the biggest exciting factor about this is that it used to hold 100 rounds. And that's pretty crazy for a gun like this, honestly. The only thing comparable to that would be the M249 that you only get in the airdrops as well. So I don't really know what to think of this. Do you guys prefer the old Tommy gun better, or do you like the new one where it's just found amongst the common loot, and do you like the way that it's balanced now? I don't know, personally I kind of prefer the old one because it obviously was much better, but I kind of wish they would put it back in airdrops, namely just to troll people. But nonetheless, that's still a change that happened in PUBG, so that's kind of exciting stuff, and it's always nice to go see about what guns have been tweaked and stuff like that. So now, really quickly, before we unveil our number 1 spot, I have an honorable mention that I would like to talk about. Now, I don't know how many of you guys remember the really old OG menu music, what used to play when you load up the game, and it's now been changed. Obviously, you know what it sounds like when you play PUBG nowadays, but this is the old menu music. It sounds great, doesn't it? Like, that huge crescendo used to lead into the really old menu music that would, if you guys remember, like this part of it. Yeah, so you get the idea, and you guys can let me know, what do you prefer in the comments? Do you like the old menu music and theme better, or do you like the new one? I'm gonna say I prefer the old music, because there's just something about that song that just gets me every time, and I can't put my finger on it, but it's beautiful. It's honestly amazing. But that is the honorable mention for a big change that PUBG has made, and I honestly don't think it'll ever return to the OG music. But now, coming in at the number 1 spot of things that PUBG has changed, this is gonna be one that's near and dear to my heart, and you might have noticed that you can pretty much put any kind of scope on any rifle you want to except the M16. Way back in the day, you actually used to be able to attach an 8x scope onto this thing, and it was literally the best sniper in the entire game. As of right now, the highest magnification scope that you can attach to the M16 is unfortunately just the 4x, and I really miss being able to put the 8x whenever I want to on this thing because it was so good. Granted, definitely overpowered, absolutely overpowered, but still fun to play with nonetheless. Can I please get an F in the comment section from everyone to pay respects to the old classic 8X M16? I'm gonna miss it. It's something that I will carry with me forever. Maybe one day, just one day, we will see the return of the 8x scope. It may happen, it may not. I'm gonna hold on to it and see if that dream actually does come alive. But anyways, guys, I think that is gonna be it for the video. That is the top 5 things, the biggest things that PUBG has changed, and things that I don't know are ever gonna be reverted, but they're probably long gone. But this game is definitely evolved. So that is a list of things that I found really interesting. Now, if you guys have any interesting tidbits of things that you guys would like to throw in there in the comment section of things that PUBG has changed that you feel like are noteworthy, definitely let me know. I didn't include everything, but these are just ones that I wanted to talk about because obviously there's been a lot of little minor adjustments to this game. That goes without saying, but I want to hear from you guys. What were some big changes that you thought that you saw and that you wanted to talk about? But anyways, guys, I might make another follow-up to this and do 5 even more changes that this game has made. We'll see. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you end up enjoying the video, then like I said, be sure you do leave a thumbs up. It helps me out greatly. Subscribe to this channel if you do happen to be brand new. And without further ado, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next live stream or the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.